brand new thing, you're taking on a brand new program, you're taking on different information and material, a different way of learning. So you're gonna muddle through it a little bit, and it's okay. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna be fine, and you're gonna make it through. And after that first class, you'll feel much better.
But all classes are not created equally.
That's true.
So, I mean, never, in my opinion, never let your guard down.
Right.
That sounds bad. I mean,
Yeah.
but like, you know, never become complacent, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, always push.
You don't have time to be complacent.
There's not time for that.
Mm-mm.
Maybe if you were in like a 3-year program, but this is 1 year.
Mm-mm.
And there's no time to be complacent in work.
No, there
Match
is.
are perfect, right?
Right.
Now they're
Right.
out in the real world. This just flows right into that. Is that,
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement?
Definitely. And like learning at a fast pace. Every month we have competencies, and like once a year we have a skills fair. So sometimes like I remember the first one, it was like hemodynamics. Like my first one off of orientation was hemodynamics, and I go, this would be the first one coming off. It is the most complicated one, and like our senior nurses are struggling with it. And I literally was like, I'm taking this binder home. Like I took the binder home, and like I just kept going through it. I felt like I was back in school. I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn this. And then it ended up being a case study, and I was like, yes, case study. Let me apply it. Like let me be able to walk through it, and you know, I know these like main facts, you know, and I'm gonna like walk through each step. And I ended up passing my competency, but like every month there's something else, and you only have, you know, 30 days to get checked off on this competency. So you can't ever become complacent. You can't ever just rest. There's no resting.
Well, that's not true. I mean, you can rest.
I mean, you can rest, but there's no, like, if you want to learn something, like in
Right.
nursing, some people say, oh, I'm comfortable. Like, you should always be learning
That's very
something.
true.
Like, there's not, I learn something new every day.
Me too.
And like I said, I still feel new, but that's because, like, I get hit with so many different experiences all the time. And, like, the other day we, like, put a patient in a pulmonary edema, and I was like, I walked into the room and I saw it immediately, and I was like, pulmonary edema, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We have rapidly transfused 7 units of blood, 2 of platelets, 3 of FFP, all within a matter of 20 minutes. And we have put him into pulmonary edema, and there is like pink foam in his ET
froth.
tube. I'm like, nobody suction that because he is in pulmonary edema and he is on a high PEEP. Like, okay, we're gonna be okay. Like, but I walked into that, and I was like, okay, I know what's going on, but I'm learning. I'm still like, you're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't know that our rapid infuser could do a unit of blood in 2.5 minutes.
One thing that I've learned from this program that was really, somebody asked the question, what I took from this program, and I think that all of us are older, you know, than like coming out of college. So we have many more life experiences. But what I think that I really took in critical thinking. Okay, so you're a nurse, and every day you are not going to have the same thing happen. You're not at a factory. You're not, I don't know, putting stuff in a box or whatever. You know, it's not the same thing. You will never have the same thing every day. That's why most of us wanted to become, like, part of it, I'm sure, is why. But like what you were saying before, everything's not cookie cutter. You know, you have a guy, an 80-year-old man with dementia. Okay, first thing you think, UTI. Oh, nope, there's no UTI. Okay, second thing you think, you know, is there some type of infection, something. All these things come back negative, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you know, you have to think outside the box. And that is one thing that I really, really learned to do in this program. Thank you for doing that, for teaching me that.
I just told you to calm down, relax. It's all gonna work out.
No, but everybody is so great with that. And you know, Dawn would even say to me, I'd be like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. This person has this, this, and this, you know, case study, blah, blah, blah. All right, Roxy, stop. Okay. All right, so then I would stop, and then okay, well, sometimes it takes a little bit for the light to turn on, and she'd be like, all right, well, this, and this. Oh my gosh, so they really do, you really learn the critical thinking aspect. Nothing is ever just, you're human. Your body, you have a human body, things don't always work the right way or go the right way. So there's different things and avenues that you learn and put together. And that is one thing that I really learned from the program.
You touched on a little bit earlier, kind of that outside of school, managing family and friends. Do you guys have any advice as to everything? And keep them in the loop that
Yep.
you're going to be non-compliant to social things.
Right. Well, I mean, that was just my take on it. Like, I remember during this weekend, my friend was getting married, and I was like, but the program isn't even supposed to start until October. Like, I was like so blown away. I was like, we're not even starting till October. How is this possible that I have to miss this one? Like, I totally got in my own head, and I was like kind of upset about it, but I was like, but this is such an amazing opportunity. Like, you have to realize that social things came second.
Oh yeah.
Like, but at the same time, like, sometimes you do need to step away, but just make sure that you're in a good point or a good stopping spot when you step away for like a minute. But I mean,
For like a minute.
I'm just thinking, like,
take
managing,
bathroom breaks, you know?
like a lot of people have kids, a lot
Yeah.
of people have husbands and girlfriends, like management of that. Do you have any broad advice on that?
They're your support system, they're the ones that support you and that are rooting you on. They're your number one. Besides everybody in here and your teachers, they're right there with you, and they understand. I never had any issue with anybody being upset at me, or like I said, it's different for everybody. I didn't miss out on a lot, but I was lucky, I guess. My clinicals fell right, and I was ahead, so I could, make dates, lunch dates with my friends, my girlfriends. I would do a lot. I would be like, okay, I don't have a lot of time to see you, but next Tuesday, do you want to grab lunch from 11 to 1? And then you bank that in, you know what I mean? Date nights with your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, that type of thing. Plan it out like you plan how you're going to do your homework, because that's you kind of have to do that at some times. Like, it's, if you want a night out with the guys, plan it. Make sure you have your work done by 6 o'clock, go out, have a good time, and then start it again. That's the best thing you can do to make sure you see the certain people that you want to see and that are important to you, is to plan the time that you
And I think, like, during Thanksgiving, I think we drove from Green Bay to Cleveland to have Thanksgiving with my family. And all I had to do to prepare for that, I like downloaded all the podcasts, and I think it was a class that I had with Brent. Was it Patho? Yeah. So I downloaded the podcast. I had my book. I bought like a little book lighter thing, and like I laid in the back of the car while my husband was so awesome. He drove the entire way and did not complain. I studied the whole trip. Mm-hmm. As soon as we pulled up at the house, I was like, what's the Wi-Fi password? And I got online immediately, and I took my test, and I like did a happy dance afterwards. I was like, yes, all right, how's everybody doing?
Love it.
And like I had like sequestered myself into like this corner of the attic with my computer at a desk and the lamp, and I was like, all right, I'm going upstairs, and I would literally be like, I'd be like, can you just, sound travels very well in that house, so I'm like, can you just kind of keep it down, because I can hear everything, and I need to study. But like in about 4 hours, we can go to the mall. Like an hour, and then I need to come back.
And the great thing with the online thing is I had a few trips that, little kind of day trips that my husband would drive, and I would have my computer right out. We would stop in hotel parking lots so I could post, and then we would keep going. And then, I went to Florida when I was in the program. I did. I knew that I couldn't be partying and doing as much as I wanted to in Florida. I had a family wedding. So, But I still brought all my stuff, allotted myself the time I needed, and then I was still with my family and things like that. So I remember where I was, and I was so afraid that I was gonna miss out on so much, and you can make it work. It'll happen and you'll make it work. I mean, obviously if there's a clinical day that you have a wedding, yeah, you're not going to the wedding, you're going to clinicals. But other things, the program's flexible, you're flexible, it can happen if it's something important to you.
And then there's a break, so I mean,
Mhm.
when there's the break, like take advantage. Like, okay, I have a break
Yeah.
during this time. Do you want to do something? Like,
Yeah.
for me, I think the break was like Christmas,
Yep.
New Year's, like right around
And
there.
then like in June or something,
Yeah.
right? Or when was
I
the
can't
second
remember this.
break?
August.
Oh yeah, it was August. That's right. Yep.
So it's like you see these breaks coming and you have your master schedule that you're crossing things off and you highlight break and you put exclamation
And you
points
put
by
happy.
it. And you're like, I'm gonna get a break. And during this break, that's when you try to like make things happen. Like for me, I didn't have the whole weekend thing. But then in my defense also, we were kind of newer to Green Bay, so I didn't have a ton of friends up there. And most of my friends are in Chicago, so it's not going to be, or in Cleveland, or spread out. It's not going to be me driving to Chicago. That's a huge waste
Right.
of time when I need to get my studying done and my post done. So,
Kind of off-topic question, but thank you. I feel so much better now. I missed my friend's wedding yesterday. Thank you.
I and my husband was in the pictures, and I was like,
It's worth it.
I kind of want to see the pictures, and I don't want to see the pictures. But anyway, thank you. I feel better.
just look at the pictures and be happy for them.
I
Know that
will.
you're on this
Next
journey
week.
that's going to take you to greatness. So.
Yeah.
But that's something we haven't touched on yet. Totally different. Did either of you have the health insurance plan through the school, or know somebody who did? Do you know what it covered and how much it was, what it was like? Because a lot of us are looking at.
I know someone who did. I didn't. I was kind of a rebel and just went without health insurance for a year. And I'm fortunate also that my father-in-law is an ER doctor. So like if I could talk to him about symptoms. I'm like, so I had this going on. But fortunately, I really only got sick once during the program and it wasn't bad. It was just like a virus. I just had the flu. So it sucked, but
I didn't need it, so I don't know much about it at all. And I didn't know anybody that had it either.
and I just had to be very, very careful with everything else. So
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs, but it's pretty much major medical
I
stuff.
think
Yeah.
it's pretty, just for catastrophic.
Right.
Yeah,
usually.
like
So
big
not
things.
prescriptions or
No.
I don't
checkups.
think so.
No.
If you have more questions about that, you can call my wife and
Okay.
ask her about that, and student health, and just ask for Pam before you, so. She'll be glad to take a call, especially if it's an Excel student, because you have limited time on campus, and they really try to accommodate questions, because you guys pay a lot of fees that other students pay, and you're not spending a lot of time on campus, so everybody really tries to accommodate your questions and such. So feel free to call the student health. She can give you an overview of exactly how that works, because she deals with students all the time.
I know you've been saying how you've done like Skype. You did Skype studying and things like that. And I guess going into this program, my biggest fear was I would be like sitting in the corner of my apartment at a table studying and not talking to anyone in my cohort. How easy was it to set those up, or like how often do you think you communicated with your cohort and studied actively
Every day.
through Skype? Or was it for like a few hours, or you randomly, or would you do
sometimes my schedule, like when you end, it'll tell you like your time to call. Sometimes it'll be like 5 hours and 30 minutes. Like we were just on there a long time.
I didn't study on Skype. I don't. Like, some people did. I didn't. It didn't work for me. But I would type on Skype. I mean, when your computer's on, like your Skype is always up, and you'll always see Tom with the little green, and you'll see Don pop in and out, and you'll see like everybody on there. So like they're like awesome resource. But you see all your friends too, or everybody in here. So you'd see who's on, and then you could talk to them. And I would do it. I mean, we did a few Skype thing, like group things, but the people that you're gonna meet like probably 4 or 5 people in here that you're gonna be talking to constantly, and then you're gonna talk to everybody else as well, but there's gonna be that core is what I called them, and you'll talk to them a lot, and you do more video chats and stuff with them too, but I would say every day.
Yeah, every day I was on Skype. And I mean, the thing I loved about it was like Sarah and I we like bonded, and then Caitlin, like I had a core as
Yep.
well, but I got along with everyone in our cohort.
Mhm.
Like everyone was so great and so willing to help everyone else out. So it was easy to just like our group chat to like post a question and someone would get back to you, no matter
Yeah.
like your question would not be overlooked. So
It's very true.
Oh, I just wonder, what was the boot camp clinical like? Like that whole portion, like the lab and the portion, because Brent said something the other day that made it, I'm picturing in my head, we get here, lab, and then and clinical, and it's either you're in lab or you're clinical or you fell over on your bed. Those were like,
No.
that's what he.
It's not like
Oh,
that.
It's, okay, it's not exactly like that.
No, well, I mean, it is kind of, but you toss the bar in there at some point.
Yeah,
or
there
like
is a-
free happy
The hotel
hour
at the bar, yes.
Yeah, free happy hour
Yeah.
at the hotel.
Maybe go
Like,
over and say.
like, and because I mean, at some point you're gonna need to eat, and I mean, most people, well, not most people, but some people drink. So like, some people had like a little bit of wine, or we would go for like a group run together afterwards to de-stress, and I mean,
It's busy during your days. It is.
it is,
And it's,
and it starts early, and don't be late.
yeah. And honestly, for me, it was probably one of the more, I don't know how to say it, but I'll be honest. That week was more stressful for me than a lot of other weeks because you're learning so much and you're checking off so much, and it's, you're away from home. Well, some of us are away from home, and it's a brand new thing but it's not like they just throw you to the wolves either. I'm not trying to make it sound like that at all, but you're learning all of your skills and everything, in a week. And you have to be proud of yourself for that too, but it's also very, emotionally for me, it was very, oh my God, I didn't get it the first time. Oh my gosh, I'm such a bad person. I shouldn't be a nurse. That kind of thing. And once you work past that and you relax and you are comfortable, it's kind of fun. It's really fun, actually.
Yeah.
I liked it. It's fun to see your friends. Like, you see everybody this weekend, and then you go months and months and months
And
without
then you
seeing
see everybody again.
Yeah, and then you see everybody again. It's like, oh, hey, you remember us? Like, so it's fun, but you are working hard. It's not like excruciatingly painful or anything, but you're busy. You're busy.
And I loved that week. Like, there were certain aspects of the week that I did not like. Like, I will just remind you, like, I think one of the skills was broken up between rooms and through the hallway and
Yeah.
like into another room, and then you go into the final room to do like your final injection or something like that. And each time, like, you have to like either verbalize the step or do the step. And like and this makes me feel so, like, even my dad like yelled at me about it. I was like, I don't need you yelling at, like, I was so upset afterwards because I got points off because I didn't say you would wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Because like, you're already in the room.
Or
You have
pull the
already-
curtain.
You have already washed your hands 5
Yeah.
times by this point, like, and I didn't verbalize it, so like I got like a point off or something like that. And so it wasn't like I didn't, like I wouldn't have washed my hands, because I always wash my hands. Don't think I'm that nurse, but I just didn't verbalize it. And then I told my mom about it because I was upset about it, and she told my dad. So the next day, my dad calls me. He's like, I can't believe you didn't wash your hands. What? Like, don't yell at me about this. I'm
Hey,
already,
the good part is you'll never forget to wash your hands.
Right, I never forget to wash my hands. Like, I walk in the room pumping the hand
Still
sanitizer
got it,
5,000
you're
times,
washing
your hands.
leaving the room. But I loved that week, and the actual clinical aspect of it was like different. And I think there was a day where I actually got to sit and like go all the way through with the patient through surgery, and like I learned something cool that day too. Like when someone has a hernia repaired or removed, and they do like an abdominoplasty, you do not have to get your belly button back. you should, if you want one back, you should request it. They will not necessarily give one back. And I thought that, like, that's like a kind of cool bar trick, like you can free people out with it afterwards. Like, look, I don't have a belly button. So, but I thought that it was really cool though, because all of the time, like, you're reading about these skills, you read about them, and then like they explain it, and then you practice it, and then you do it. And there's nothing more satisfying than getting checked off on something.
And there's a ton of instructors in there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it isn't like that this is some kind of weird lab thing.
No.
You're kind of paired up with just a couple people
Yeah.
with great skills, and then you're rolling along. So, and the only reason you're tired is because you're just going through so much stuff.
Yeah.
So typically people find it really fun. I mean, at the end of boot camp, so, you know, I think on the first day you kind of got that filter, well, that sounds like, you know, so you got all this other crazy stuff going on in this program. Then you come to boot camp, which is already named boot camp.
Yeah.
Which was not named by us, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, it was named by the first group of students who went through this program. That was boot camp. So, you know, but because there's so many people with you, right? I mean,
Right.
you got,
Oh, yeah.
And
You
then
got a
like
crew.
you're with like your, well, I was
Friends.
lucky because I was with my friends
Yeah.
too. So like, you know, we stayed in the same room, like we piled like 4 of us into a hotel room, and like when we got back, like the last day or one of the last days, you have to do like the complete assessment.
Yeah. Yep.
Where you like complete head to toe when you go through all of your body systems and assessments and you verbalize and everything like that. I can't remember if it was during boot camp or if it was during, I think it was
boot
during
camp.
It was during
Yeah.
boot camp.
Yep.
But like literally we took over the conference room at the hotel and like pushed tables together to make like beds, and like, you know, we worked the skills like
Yeah.
inside and outside, and then we discussed them. So like, although it seems like, you know, you're really beating the knowledge into your brain, like we worked them together so that we made sure that each other, we were like no man left behind kind of
Yeah.
a group. So
Yeah, that's the most. Boot camp was very rewarding because maybe this is just me, but when I'm reading, I'm not in scrubs, I'm not on a floor, I don't feel like a nurse. When we were done with boot camp, I really started to feel like a nurse, and that was very rewarding for me.
Do you still keep in contact with some of the other cohort members?
yeah.
Definitely.
I actually just saw one of my really, really close friends, Caitlin, who I met in the program, and we just happened to be in Chicago in the same neighborhood like a couple of weekends ago, and I was only there for one night. I had a training for work in Milwaukee, and I decided to drive in to Chicago, and I text her and I was like, hey, I'm in Chicago, and she was just there watching Wisconsin play. And so we met up and we had a ball, and like I like ran and gave her this huge hug. Like we helped each other through the program so much. And then like I'll still text with like Edith and Sarah, and like those were people in my cohort. And sometimes I wonder about other people and I'll Facebook them and see how they're doing. Yeah.
I'm same way. I still see a few and I talk to a few.
Okay, I want to thank you guys for coming. We kept them a half hour longer than they were supposed to, but it was great. We didn't want to stop them, but I think it's time to let them go. So let's go ahead and